Hi guys, it's Lean here, and today on my channel I'm going to be doing a very different YouTube video, to be honest with you. I have my iPad and a big glass of water. Um, I just want to preface this by saying this story time is going to be a little, it's going to be a little gory. I'm not going to go into too much detail because I am currently writing a book on this story time in particular. It obviously, you've seen it by the title and by the thumbnail. I had Verdinstreptoccas, so let's just get into it. Baby, so go. So, I should go into some background. There's not much background to it. And if I look away, I'm like really thinking, but I was 10, so it was beginning of 2013, which I was in my last year of, I was about to say middle school, last year of elementary school. And the elementary school that I go to is really small. When I tell you it was really small, the only way you could get in is if one of your parents worked on the island or if you lived on the island. That's the only way you could get in. I'm not sure about their policies now, but that was then. So keep in mind, we didn't have a lot of teachers to begin with. I think we had a music teacher, we had art, and then we had PE, and then recess was Thursdays and Fridays. And then art, I believe, was Fridays. Music was Wednesdays, and then I don't think we had anything on Thursday. So Thursday we would just go to recess after lunch and then go back to class and, get some more learning in. I was a very normal kid, and when my mom was pregnant with me, she worked in pediatrics. She has her MA. Well, she doesn't have the whole MA license, but she is, she's an MA. She did, at that point, she did a lot of hustle work, so like kind of like the whole background. So you take the kids and the parents to the, office and all that. So she had a lot of knowledge about what to do and what not to do in, kids' lives, for your kid. She never really gave me antibiotics that were like not over the counter, so like prescribed, unless it was absolutely necessary. And I'm gonna stress this, that as a parent, I mean, I'm not a parent, but as someone who that was like solely based on around, the whole reason why I practically survived Verdinstreptoccas is because I did not take any antibiotics at all. I took very few, probably like once or twice in my lifetime at this point. And keep in mind, I'm 10, so I was a kid. So I would get sick pretty, like once or twice a year. It's Liam from the future. And I kind of want to explain a little bit on why I stress not doing a lot of prescribed medicines if not needed. Um, I was told that by the doctors that if I had done big dosages of prescribed medicine, that it wouldn't have worked. That dosage that they were giving me wouldn't have worked, so I would have struggled to honestly live, to be honest with you. So I'm kind of just putting out there, I'm not telling you what to do, but that is my intake, and that is definitely what happened to me. So in a way, like I said, I am grateful that I was not put on any prescribed medicine that was not necessary. Like if your kid is sick, from my mom's point of view, if your kid's sick for over a week, okay, that's probably a problem, but usually it should end within a week. So there's no need to like go to the hospital, or I mean, go to the doctor if it's not like something really serious. But I wanted to explain that a little bit better, um so that was like one of the major things, and she was also not as paranoid as a parent. I feel like that was pretty necessary to say. So I'm not going to go in too much detail based off this. I'm kind of just going to do the story time. I will be kind of like going back and forth from the screen to here, my iPad, but in this particular day, I'm not quite sure what the day was, to be honest with you. But I knew it was a PE day. So I quite in particular think it was a Wednesday, because I don't think we had much to do, or like much, like going on that day. So we went, like in PE for fifth graders at this school was the last thing of your day. So like after PE, you would go straight to like, like the front if you were parent pickup, or you would go to the bus ramp if you were a bus student, or going to any after care, like after school care. And keep in mind, I also forgot to say, my parents aren't like all that well known, to be honest with you, on the beach. But it does help, or it did help, that because we're such a, small community, that, a lot of people came together and helped out. But continuing, it's so hard because I blacked out in like 50% of it. So from the time that I just stated after PE, so during PE, I started to feel not so good. Like, that seems very cliche to say, but I did not feel good whatsoever. And I was kind of just trying to push it off. And then, like it was almost the end of the day. And then I only had like really close to like 3-4 hours to suffer through it. So I thought it was like, I was just going to try to push through it. But my best friend at the time, Erica, and if you ever watch this, Erica, shout out to you. I know we haven't been, we are not friends anymore, but shout out to you. You did, honestly, low-key save my life, pretty much. So shout out to you. Basically, I'm gonna go no names here. No names. Besides Erica. And so I sat down for a while and I still wasn't feeling good. So Erica did take me to the front office, and this is kind of where it goes black, to be honest with you. I vaguely remember throwing up, to be honest with you, during the whole thing, but supposedly my mom picked me up from school, which, keep in mind, I think at that time she was working for Lee Memorial. So she was working for Lee Memorial at the time, and so she had to come and get me, obviously. And so now this is like where it really goes black. I don't remember any of the doctor's appointments, the pediatrician appointments, like any of it whatsoever. But I'm really thinking that either my mom stayed home with me because she had better insurance to begin with, and she had better like everything than my father at that point. So she took me to all the doctor's appointments, all the pediatrician appointments, the whole 9 yards. Everyone was kind of just saying it was gonna pass, and it was definitely not gonna pass. And to give you the line of who I was before, I was very much the class clown. I would literally be the funniest person ever. For instance, I think it was first or second grade, I said 3 plus 3 equals lettuce. That's what I said. So if that doesn't tell you who I am or who I was as a person, I should say, then I don't know what to tell you, but I was very much the class clown. So that's who I was. It rapidly changed after that, to be honest with you. Sorry, I'm gonna move because I'm uncomfortable. But after my mom, or it was about 2 weeks of just straight doctor's appointments, straight, like nothing. My mom kind of had to stay home with me. But this day in particular, my aunt had a full-time job, but she also did school, and I think she just did some work online or in the kitchen where I am right now, because this is actually the house that I lived in at this point. So we've been living here for October of 2010, so 12 years we've been living in this house. So it actually happened 3 years later. 3 years, practically 2 and a couple months after we moved, or 2 years and a couple months after we moved into this house. So honestly, I don't know many of the symptoms, but the one that my mom kind of screamed out the most was not talking. Now that kind of seems weird for this part of the story, and if you watched my old one, which I'll have up here, then you kind of get the idea. But if you didn't watch it, I don't think you really have to, because this one will be a lot better. I'm gonna read right off this to give you the perspective on some of the symptoms that I had. Was whining, barely eating, my head hurt to the touch, and one that scared my mom the most was that I wasn't talking. And to clarify in the not talking, it's not that I didn't want to talk, because I did want to talk. I did want to eat McDonald's. I did want to go to school. I did want to do all these things. It was just that, I couldn't spit the words out. It wasn't moving. I couldn't do it. It's not that I didn't want to, it's just I couldn't do it. So on this particular day, my aunt was here at my house taking care of me, and if you've ever seen my layout of my kitchen, or my living room, it was a lot different then. I had 2 couches, so I had a ottoman, or I had a regular couch, kind of like a smaller, kind of like a love seat, to be honest with you. A very small love seat, wasn't that big, and then a regular couch. So it'd be regular couch, love seat, and then the ottoman for the love seat. So very small, very minimal. I was literally sitting on that regular, the love couch, the love couch, whatever, all day, watching TV, because that's all I really could do. I would get up and grab water, and I would get up and, go to the bathroom and do minor things. But to be honest with you, one of the biggest headaches, or I kind of just said it, one of the biggest symptoms was headaches. But I literally did not talk whatsoever. I think, honestly, if I were to ask my aunt, I believe she was more scared. Obviously everyone is, in the book. But, so after my mom got home, my mom and dad, I think at this point, I was probably still on the couch, to be honest with you. I was so mellow looking back at, I was so mellow at this point in the story compared to who I was before. And they gave it. They threw in the towel and they took me to the emergency room. This is where it gets very, not gonna lie, very gory, if that makes sense. But to begin with, the hospital literally was about to send me home. They did everything that they could. They kind of refused to give me a CAT scan because they thought it was literally the same thing, just like it was gonna pass, it's not gonna pass. But my mom screamed at multiple different doctors to get help. My mom like really started to yell. She did not want to be sent home. And I think as a mom, you know, I think in her position, I think she had the right to yell. She had every right to yell because there is something wrong, and there was something wrong with me. And she literally yelled for a CAT scan. And so they gave me a CAT scan, and from what they thought, it was a mass in my brain. So this is where we took the trip to All Children's Hospital, and at the time it was actually just All Children's Hospital, but now it is Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital. But I was supposed to fly, but I guess they were like understaffed or something in the flying department, so they took me by ambulance, and let me tell you, that was expensive. I mean, it says here I was supposed to be on light flight, obviously. So, and this is still very blackout for me. It says here, the only part that I remember of this ambulance ride was asking my mother if I could sit up, and she said no, as I had IV fluids and continuous fluids, as well as, I don't know why I said that. Obviously, I'm still making the book, so I'm gonna have lots of mistakes. As well as medication. Around 2 o'clock in the morning is when we had arrived, and a young male ICU nurse took me out of the ambulance and with the doctor and did our assessment, and we went straight to the ICU room. To be honest with you, I'm kind of just summarizing this, to be honest with you for now. And around 7 a.m., a neurology team, I'll have that word right here for you. Neurology team came and asked my parents rather, a ton of questions. And they did an MRI. So this MRI, which was really determined on my brain, because they obviously at that point in time they had thought that it was a mass in my brain. Within a few hours, I'm just going to read straight from here. Within a few hours after the MRI, they found out that I had fluid in my brain, and it says and a mass in the middle of my brain. The next day, they did surgery to remove the fluid only around the front part of my brain. I'm not sure what that was. I really don't know. It was something in the fridge though. Where they had to make an incision from ear to ear. So literally, if I were to show you, but I think it's too gory to show you, so I won't. But it's literally from the bottom of this ear to the top. And I think if you really look back in some of my videos, especially when I was in the kitchen at the window, you could probably tell, and it's all the way to this ear. You could probably tell, but the next day, keep in mind, I had at least 1 or 2 MRIs every day. So the next day, another MRI was done to assess the fluid in the front part of my brain and to see how the back was. And the middle still showed the middle still showed a mass. A week or two, the mass turned into fluid over about a week's time. Then I went into another surgery. This part is gonna be very gory right here because it's bold in here. So this surgery was a big surgery. I had 3 big surgeries, but this is one of the biggest ones. A week or two, they used the same incision where they had to cut my skull to make the access point to insert a long needle to drain the fluid out from the middle of my brain. In between all the surgeries, they did daily MRIs to check all fluid and make sure none of the ones drained came back. I remember after the surgery, although I was a little froggy from the medication, I remember going to a different room, which is true. I do remember going to a different room because it felt weird. I felt like I went from this way, I felt that like going from this side to this side, like my bed was facing the fridge, if you know what I'm saying, to my bed was facing the living room, if that makes sense. Which felt very off for me because I vaguely do remember. But I do want to say during this time, I do not remember most of this. I don't remember most of the 5th floor at all. The 5th floor was ICU. The 7th floor was recovery. So now I'm in recovery. So after recovery, I went to physical therapy sessions, which did consist of like actual going to the gym, if that makes sense. I went to the gym, or I had 2 girls come in and they would make me choose where I wanted to go. So the window, which was pretty far from where my room was, or we could go to the other side to where the I guess arcade room was, and that's where I was, or we could play in there for a while. And then we had more of like a mental, so I vaguely, and this is in the story, I like remember this as if it was yesterday. This girl came in, well, woman rather, she came in and she had a bag of Skittles and she had a piece of paper, and we separated them into colors, and then we counted them and put it on the piece of paper. And then she let me eat the Skittles too afterwards, which was very nice of her. And then I do remember there would be like carts that would go around the rooms, and that's where you could pick like board games, or they had like one with board games, one with like, you know, candy and stuff, one with stuffed animals. They had a lot of different things coming in and out of the rooms. And with the woman who came with, the 2 women who came and who would help me walk, because keep in mind, I sat on that bed for so long that I forgot how to walk. So what they did was they brought a kind of like I'm hesitant to say a waist trainer by any means, but kind of like a belt around my waist to protect me. And I was very naive at this point. I do want to hesitate. This is the point where I was starting to get really vocal. I hated all the girls, not like the girls in general. I just hated going to physical therapy. Like, I just want to go home. Like, I seriously just wanted to go home. And I remember my mom was very adamant, and she like yelled at me one day. She's like, if you don't like do all of this, then you're not gonna go home. And I like literally had to, I had to do it. And I think the day that I clocked in was the 29th of January 2013, and I clocked out literally a month later, February 29th, 2013. So today, well, since it's now March when I'm filming this, it has been 9 years. It has been 9 years since I made it out of that room. And there's not much to the story. I mean, kind of just going back, like, this is more of a summary that my mom did on the book, but they did find out that I had Verdinstreptoccas, and we do not know how it came. I mean, from what I remember, I was reading articles last night because, well, I watched KB and Baby's, her like latest video, and how she was like rushed to the emergency room after being 7 days postpartum. And I think that's really what sparked the trigger, like pulled the trigger on me wanting to refilm this. It's definitely really hard to talk about, to be honest with you, because not only do I not know a lot, I don't remember most of it, obviously, because I kind of blacked out during most of it, but kind of just going through. So on the 29th, I got home, and I still had an IV. Is the point in time where I would have to actually have like portable like bags of fluid that would go, that I would have to do at certain times of the day. And it took me roughly about a month and a half to even get back to school. So it was a long road. It was a long road. When I tell you it was rough, it was rough. I had physical therapy, I had tutors, outpatient clinics that I had to go to. I had people coming in and out of my house. So every Friday, a guy would draw my blood, through the IV, and make sure that all my vitals were good. And then, I also had speech therapy. I didn't know until, I actually read the newspaper article, to be honest with you, but I also had that. That was, not gonna lie, it was very rough. It was very, very rough. Knowing that I'm well and I'm better, but I still have to go through all these things, it kind of made me angry. I wanted to go. I wanted to go back to school. I wanted to see all my friends. And this is where it brings me to, I would always go with my mom, obviously, to pick up my schoolwork, because I would always pick it up. So I had the choice to go in the classroom since they were in the classroom, and I didn't. And I am now mad at that because I could have easily gone in and said hi to all my friends like I wanted to the entire time, but I was too shy. I was too fucking shy, and it irritates me, but in a way I have to go back to that little Leanne and be like, okay, yeah, I understand where she's coming from, because it was a lot to take in. I'm not gonna lie, it was a lot to take in. And to be like, it was just a lot to take in. I don't think I have it on here at the moment, but all thanks to Mike DiCarlo. I love you. Rest in peace. He was one of the ones to start a fundraiser. And a lot of different people chimed in, like a lot of different restaurants chimed in, a lot of like single people, just like people had chimed in. They had a festival, I think that goes on yearly now or something. And they also had donations. Mike had definitely started a bank account for my family and I to go through all of the out-of-pocket expenses, because that... Guys, I am Leanne from the future, and I kind of just want to bring this to light because I don't want to get any hate comments. I am in no way trying to state that, I'm greedy and whatever, because I'm not. Like, everything that everyone did is amazing and I love them to death. And I'm honestly just bringing to light Verdinstreptoccas because no one knows about it. Like, I've researched it multiple different times and I literally can't get much out of it, and I'm curious about what it really is, like how many people have had it. So I'm kind of just bringing it to light, and I'm bringing up money just to kind of give you an idea of the amount of time that I spent there. And like, keep in mind, I think I said this in the earlier part of the video. Sorry. In the earlier part of the video that I just bring up a lot of different things that I can't even remember, but I just want to clarify that I am so grateful that what everybody did, and I just kind of wanted to say the next clip you'll see of me brings up money and how much it really was, and I'm being completely honest with you guys and transparent, because that's what us YouTubers should be doing, being honest and transparent with you guys and true and for real. Like, that's how much it was, and that's how much it was. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and thank you for listening this far. That was definitely one of the things that probably took a toll on my parents the most. It was the out-of-pocket fees. It was over $1 million in fees, in general, just like $1 million. So yeah, definitely had to go bankrupt there, but that's fine. So I said earlier in the book, like the sentence beforehand, I said new life. So like, I have a new life. And it says, when I say my new life, I mean that I have to really understand my body and the signs it's giving me. For example, if I have a headache, which nowadays is more of an eye ache, which is really true. It's more of an eye ache. It's kind of like just like right here, more of the times. And I think this is the area that I have a plate in my head. For a week or two, I have to get it checked out. I also have to keep an eye on ear and eye infections. Like I said at the beginning, we really don't know how this really started, but it just happened, and it happened. So this point in the story or the book is just me basically talking about the physical therapy like I vaguely remember one of them would be like, so there was like an office. So like you would go in this building, and then you'd go up to the blah floor. I don't remember that, but you go up to the blah floor. You walk from the elevator to the last door. You walk in that door, and then there's a waiting room. And then diagonal to the waiting room, there's a door, there's a room. That would be, I guess I guess that'd be like speech therapy. I'm quite sure. I really don't know. And then you would go around that corner, and then that's where it was more of the actual physical therapy. So she would make me walk across, and she would have things, she would tell me to go do this thing or pick up this thing or read this thing, a lot of the times. And then, like I said, I did have a tutor. Don't remember how long she would come in, or what times she would come in during the week, but she would help me for some amount of time during the week, and she would help me get to the point of where I was at school, at least like right before I left. And she would help me with all the work that I had and such. And I really love her. I don't remember her at all, which is kind of sad, but I really love her. She was really nice. And then I had the guy who would come and prick me every Friday, through the IV. And then I don't think I have it during the story or in the story, but I do. One particular afternoon I was outside just playing, and I started to notice that my IV was starting to come out, and it I don't even know how to describe the feeling to you. It just felt bizarre. It kind of felt like a worm crawling on you, but like at the same time it felt kind of uncomfortable. I'm not even gonna lie. I in the story I said, or the book, I said, and how I noticed it was starting to tickle me. Although that sounds weird and crazy, it is true. So my parents called the nurse to come out and remove it. So that was not a problem. Being free of the IV was the most relieving and best feeling ever. And the reason why I say that, it was so difficult to take a shower because you couldn't get it wet. And it kind of stopped me from doing things that I wanted to do. This is the point in time where my parents would definitely, like, anytime we were in the house, I would definitely go outside and play. This was the time that Erica, my best friend, lived very close to me. She lived on the opposite side of the neighborhood. So, like, there's a car wash, and then she lived on that side of the neighborhood. So she would come, and she would tell me all these crazy stories about, like, what the heck is going on at school and who's doing this. And she would give me a lot of the, cards and letters and all that. It says here, to finish off the sentence, it was actually kind of rewarding to know that I'm getting healthier and I'm getting better, which is definitely true. It was worth the entire thing, and if I had to go back and do it again, I would, although that kind of sounds weird. I would go back and do it, and I would probably change a few things, my decisions. Decisions meaning, just regular decisions. Just like, how I should have went and talked to more people. I should have gotten more friends to come over, the whole 9 yards. And I'm not going to go in full detail of the rest, which right now this is just going into detail about each school year and how it affected me then. But I do want to kind of summarize it. It affected me a lot, whether that was physically, like looks wise, whether that was from head to toe, or mentally, you know, it was mentally draining sometimes, where I would think about all these scenarios and how they were, you know, how some people were bullying me and, you know, blah, 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 or how people who wouldn't understand my story. I was definitely shy when it came to this portion of my lifetime. Really shy, really, really shy. I can't really explain how shy I was, but I was. And yeah. And to explain how kind of like how I feel now, just a little bit, kind of summarize it. I look back and I think that it's crazy that it ever happened to me, and I think that anything can happen to anybody at any time, and it just happened to be when I was young. But it really, really kind of blessed me. I feel grateful for the life that I have. I feel amazed. I'm not even sure what that word means, but my brain's kind of yelling it. So, like, I don't know, I just feel happy in a way that I have what I have now. I also learned I had to grow up very quickly after this. I'm not gonna lie, I had to, you know, it was like, if you don't know, I live in Florida. So it's like one of the hottest states in the country. So, it was the hottest portion of the year. It was going right into spring break. It was going right into spring break, and so I had to wear a hat if I went outside for a long period of time. That was another irritating thing now that I look back at a hat. Really, a hat. But one of the biggest things that I hated the most was people saying to get over it. Like, how do you get over something like that in such a small time? Like, how? How do you get over something so big that affected your life so big? So now when I do get in a very serious committed relationship, this is something that I'm gonna have to tell them. This is something that couldn't happen again at any time. So not only do I have to, give me a second. Sorry about that. My dad had called me. But continuing, like I was saying, how can you forget something so big in a short amount of time? It just bothers me. But in a way, I mean, like I said at the beginning of the story, I had such a good community, and it's still such a good community. They partnered the entire time that I was in the hospital, and after that I was in the hospital, and they literally partnered up to raise money for my parents to pay for this, you know. So I'm not like, I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful that I have people to support and love and care about me, you know. I love that. But I could go on talking about it for a long time, and that's what my book is for. I am probably halfway done with the book, to be honest with you. But I just wanted to give you guys a updated story. I will have KB and babies. Actually, it would be opposite of me, so it would be here. It'd be up here somewhere, on the eye, and I will also have my younger self talking about it here as well. But I hope you guys enjoyed this story time. Like I said, it was kind of gory, but yeah, I just want to kind of bring awareness to Verdinstreptoccas, and I don't know if I stated, but it is basically a fluid that goes through your mouth, and that's how you get strep throat, strep. That's how you get strep throat. And then it just somehow went from here all the way to here, which is fine by me, I guess. But yes, I hope you guys enjoyed. Like, subscribe, give it a big thumbs up, and I'll see you in my next video.